This is Marketing Uncomplicated. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I'm your host, Sasha Awa. Today's guest has one of those stories that stop in your tracks. Born in Kazakhstan, moving to the US at 16, not even knowing how to use a computer, she fought her way forward to earn an MBA, land a powerhouse career at Microsoft, managing more than 50 million in annual ad spend, and was recognized as part of the top 0.01% of the company with the Platinum Club Award. But in 2021, Aya Kikimova left corporate life to launch her own agency, Leap Engine, right in the middle of the pandemic. Tough one, but also an amazing one. And as a new mom, with no one outside funding, she scaled Leap Engine into a thriving business that's generated more than 100 million in revenue for 100 plus clients, proving that small businesses can access Fortune 500 level strategies without the Fortune 500 price tag. So true. She's also a yoga instructor, salsa dancer, and speaks Russian fluently. So she's clearly not one to do just one thing. Aya, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you.
Thanks so much for having me, Sasha.
Yeah, so I always like to take a little bit of a step back when I bring on my guests, and I want to really just rewind a little bit to take us back to you being 16, which is such a tender age. I remember leaving to boarding school at 16, and a lot of people at that age are fighting, and they feel that they're 16 going on 25, and so on and so forth. But that's a big move at 16 to arrive into the US. No computer skills. What was the transition like for you?
Um, I think I was very lucky. I participated in the exchange program, which essentially organized my year in the US to live in a local family, local American family, and they would host me as one of their own children. They were complete volunteers, they were not paid for it. They just wanted to experience to host an international student. So I landed in a wonderful family in Ohio, and they welcomed me like their own. I was one of their five kids, and it was a lot of fun.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my God, I love America. It's so much fun. There's, they had lots of animals too. So they had like
Oh,
a dog and a puppy and another old dog and a cat that was
yeah.
called Chicken without any teeth. And they had a
Oh,
snake, they had a parrot. Like, so it was just for a 16-year-old, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I live in a zoo, but also a very
yeah.
fun zoo. So there was no question about it that I wanted to come back to study here.
Oh, I love that. How when you came at 16, how long were you here for as an exchange student?
It's a regular like student year program. You
Okay,
arrive at the end of summer and you leave like
right before the
June.
summer.
Yeah,
Okay.
like mid-June. And I had such a blast, and yeah, that's why I wanted to come back here.
Oh, I love that. So, what kept you motivated in those early years when everything felt like starting from zero?
So I think I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. And you have to imagine my mom being like in her mid 20s with a young kid. The country was sort of collapsing. It was during the breakdown of the Soviet Union, and there was no government and there was no capitalism. So nobody owned anything. So going from like no ownership to ownership, that was a big move.
Yeah.
So I think it's just in my blood. I also wanted to build something and I wanted to create my career. So I just came here bright eyed, rosy glasses on. And obviously, I had the support of my American host family, but then I went through, the application process. There was a lot of hurdles, like the tests that were required here were not available in Kazakhstan. So my American mom was very supportive, and she was like, before you go, you have to take this test if you really want to come back for the US education. So I did all that, and I think it was part blend from my family background and history being kind of figuring it out as the country literally is dysfunctional and there's
Yeah.
literally no cash, like you don't know, there was barter system for a few months.
Wow.
um, yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, I just knew that I just can figure it out.
Yeah, I love that. What were the tests that she suggesting for you to take, like the LSAT as well as the SAT?
So it was the SAT and TOEFL. TOEFL is
Yeah.
the English
TOEFL for the
language.
English.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have that in Kazakhstan. If I wanted to take that test, I would have had to travel to another country to take them. So
Yeah.
she knew about that, which is thank you, Mama
So
Anna.
nice.
And she was like, if you want to study here, you have to take
Oh.
this test before you
And
leave the
and you
American.
didn't did were you studying to take the test? At least, I mean, because the SATs are pretty intense. I mean, some students take at
Yeah.
least 2 years to study them.
I did study for them. I took like a study course locally, and but I mean, I think educational systems in America and back at home are different in a
Mm.
sense that, like a lot of the science classes, math classes, I already knew a lot that was taught in college courses here.
Yeah.
So that was pretty easy for me. It was more like the logic and the English proficiency that was a little bit difficult.
Yeah, yeah, and it's nice because as an international student, they looked at your TOEFL when applying for universities, so that's always great.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, so this is a nice segue because I mean, arriving here at 16, coming back, and then you eventually went on to earn your MBA and step into some of the biggest roles in marketing. What do you think helped you break into Microsoft and stand out and be part of that like 0.01%? I mean, that's such an amazing accomplishment.
honestly, I don't know. I
Just
think
good, just hard work.
just hard work. Yeah, I think it was always part of my upbringing and just how I would do things. I would always over deliver, and I would always try to do the best I can. And I guess, I'm a perfectionist, although I am working on with my therapist not to be. So
Yeah.
it's like dialing it back now. But I think that always helped. And I think, within the corporate environment, that was always appreciated. And also driving results for clients and, um, just understanding how marketing works. And that's where I landed. So, I was pretty proficient in it. And I think it generated this award, which was like a big surprise for me and a big honor. But I also knew that, at some point I wanted to start my own business and my own company because entrepreneurship is in my blood. So I was like, I have to try it. If I don't try it before I'm 40, I'm not going to try it. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
going to settle. I just don't have the energy. So
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
I'm sort of young, I can, go ahead and try it.
I love that. And I think it takes an like a different character to step out, and to really commit to something in the entrepreneurial world because it's this, right? And
Mhm.
for those of you that are listening, it is a roller coaster ride. There are ups, there are downs, and even when things are going well, you're going to have valleys as well as peaks. So let's
Yeah.
shift into, from corporate to entrepreneur. At Microsoft, you managed 50 million in ad spend, which is a pretty decent amount. I mean, I remember I worked at the New York Times. We didn't even have close to that. So,
Yeah.
but obviously, Microsoft is completely different from media. But you worked for giants like P&G and Nestle, so a lot of, some really good consumer packaged goods. What was one of the biggest lessons you took from that, that you could, that in the sense of scaling that you migrated into entrepreneurial world?
Yeah, so $50 million per year, that is a lot. And that also meant there was a pressure of like, hey, we're not just spending $50 million just to spend. There has to be ROI involved in it. So we were aiming for, 2x, 3x, 4x, right? Like, and it's really hard with that kind of ad spend to deliver those kinds of results.
Oh yeah.
So that was a lot of testing, experimenting, and working closely with, giants like Google and Bing, right, like in Microsoft, to deliver those kinds of results. So, I think like I was basically trial and error and doing a lot of A/B testing. And so one of the things that I brought from that kind of entrepreneurship is the deep analytics, like an analysis, is basically doing quick tests, iteration, and wins, and finding the winning formula within the next 2, 3 months and running with it, right? So, I think that's the biggest learning if I look at it at a large scale. But every campaign is unique.
Yeah.
Every campaign is tailored to its particular goals and a particular competitive environment, but also the brand and how strong that brand is resonating with the consumer. And basically, I had to test a lot of things and figure out what works for each particular brand. But we did deliver on those goals, which is why I think, that award came about, because we did generate and those clients were happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love that you said, every campaign is unique, because I think even if it's a industry, even if it's two brands within the same industry, each campaign is going to react differently with a market, because you're looking at different audiences, even if it's in the same industry. So,
exactly. Yes.
yeah.
So for sure. For example, like what can I for example, a big brand that would be a very popular headphone brand, for example, versus a new up and coming brand who we've helped launch as well in my career. And the two are completely different because one brand is really well known. They cost the same. They could have the same value propositions, but in terms of how the audience perceives it and how the consumer, whether they buy it or not, it really depends on our traditional marketing funnel, which is the brand awareness, the research, the consideration, and the purchase. So if we are skipping down to consideration without having the brand awareness, that's not going to work. And each brand is unique, how it resonates with the audience, and that's where essentially we need to figure out whether it's going to work or not.
Oh, yeah, totally. Thanks for that background and that clarification. So, what I like to call, a secured position is in essence the golden shackles. So you walked away from a high profile position, a secure position. Um, you know, you're a new mom. What was the hardest part of starting your own agency? I mean, with no outside funding, did you have one foot in the 9 to 5, one foot out building your clientele, or it was just a cold cut turkey and you started the next day?
So here's really what happened. At the end of 2021, I gave 1 month notice and I said, hey, I think this should be the time. I was gearing up for this for 2 years and I was like, I just know that I got to leave and figure it out. Again, I did not know what I was going to do. I did not know it was going to be an agency. I actually um, even tried to open my own daycare because I
Okay.
thought, I love children. I want to work with kids. And then
While
I
you
did,
were a new mom.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, because, I'm like, hey, if I open my own daycare, I don't have to pay this exorbitant cost. Maybe I can make a profit.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not how it works. It's so difficult. There's a lot of regulations, insurance, all things you can imagine. That's a big hurdle, which is great that they have that. But I realized that's just too much. And we also have a goal to move out of the United States at some point. So I didn't want to have a big like brick and mortar business that is tied to a location.
Yeah.
And within that time frame, so I left Microsoft 2021. I floated around and kind of like tried to figure out what am I going to do. I sort of got one client locally just through friends. They were like, "Can you help me with marketing?" And I just charged them nominal, like $500.
Yeah.
I'll just run your campaigns. I'll just help you out. And then it kind of snowballed from there. They started referring me. The other people were referring and I was like, whoa, I think this is turning into a business. And then they were like, can you do more than just ads? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can find people for that. And so that's how it sort of grew. It grew completely through referral basis. And I did not really plan for it, but that's something that I knew really well, marketing. And local businesses just kind of found me and
Yeah.
then it started growing from there. Like they referred, like I have a business in London and then I have a business in Canada. It's like, there's all these businesses that are not even in the United States and I did not
Yeah.
even expect that to happen. It's kind of like that award, it just kind of like fell on my lap.
Yeah. Which is kind of great, because I mean, in a way, you were just you're flowing in life, which is fantastic. I mean, you were flowing in your job at Microsoft and, working through whatever you were working through. And then the same thing, in terms of starting your own business and migrating into that, and everything was just kind of in support of your mission, I guess.
I think so. I think my mission is to help people. And I think when I started Leap Engine, I didn't want it to be like a regular marketing agency. I wanted
Yes.
to make sure, because I've worked at agencies before Microsoft, and then I also knew how much they charged their clients. And
Yeah.
then also working there, I knew the quality of service that was provided because there
You're a
was lots
number.
of
Yeah.
things. Yeah. And then it's just efficiency play on profit margins. So I deliberately wanted to make sure that the marketing that I provided to small businesses was affordable. There was
Yeah.
like a very key point that it is not expensive, that it is affordable, but also that they get top tier marketers.
Yeah.
So like myself, right? I've been in the industry 15 plus years. I've managed, giant accounts, tiny accounts. And so does my team. Like every team member has at least 5 years of experience. And we do want to offer internships at some point, but we definitely don't want to have interns experiment with those accounts.
I completely agree. So I want to dig into this because I love this. I mean, this is my passion in terms of supporting small businesses. I don't think that they're supported in the right way, and so on. So let's go through a series of questions as it relates to that, to really uncover the ease and the tactics and what people need to be thinking about top of mind, because I think a lot of small businesses run into like issues when they basically sign on a new agency, or do a particular marketing channel, and then it blows up in their face because that agency maybe hasn't supported them the way they need to be supported, or maybe they haven't done the foundational work to truly understand who their ideal customer profile is. And it's not that marketing doesn't work. It's, unfortunately, some of these small businesses are being targeted, and they're meeting third party vendors and doing things that aren't necessarily a fit for their business. So
Mhm.
one thing that I like that you mentioned was, there is a lot to have been learned at enterprise to bring into small business to create that efficiency, where enterprise don't have the speed and agility that startups and small businesses do. So I want to dig into the Fortune 500 strategies that can be adapted to work for small businesses and startups. And can you give us specific examples of how?
Yeah, so what I have learned, so basically, like you cannot overlay the enterprise strategy directly to the small business enterprise or the small businesses. And the reason being is that there is the budgets, right? The budgets are very different. The testing is a lot more available on a large enterprise level versus on a small business level. So we have developed this it's sort of like an assessment audit called GPS.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a name, growth, profit, sales. And what it does is it's a calculator that, I'm happy to share after the fact and people can fill it in. But basically, there are some numbers that
We
we
can
look
share it
at.
in the link. We can share it as a link below that people can take a look at.
Absolutely. So essentially, people fill in their numbers, and what we're looking at is what's your initial, price point for your customer to pay, and then what is the additional kind of like upsell. And what we're trying to get at is whether, I mean, it depends on what type of a business, but let's say it's a small local business. What's the lifetime value of that customer? And then what's the cost per acquisition? What's your conversion rate? So lead to sale. And what's your retention rate? And what are your profit margins? When we have all of those answers and all of those numbers together, we can even tell you right off the bat, like, yeah, marketing is not for you yet. Like, you need to first work on your lifetime value
Hmm.
and you need to up your profit margins. And I've had to turn down probably like at least 20 maybe businesses just to say, like, no matter how much marketing you're going to spend, it's going to be a waste because we cannot deliver you ROI.
Yeah.
Because your cost per acquisition does not make sense for your lifetime value,
Yeah.
or your profit margins are so low, like it just, our cost of marketing, like paying us, just doesn't make sense for you.
No,
So
totally.
yeah, so basically, like we try to look under the hood and we look at each business individually, like fill out these numbers, let's talk about your business. What's your recurring revenue strategy? Can you have something that is sort of stronger in terms of lifetime value? But basically, that would be the model that we look at and assess whether marketing makes sense. Now, if it does make sense, then we look at each business and we say, like, what's your sector? Are you B2B? Are you e-commerce? Are you in like traditional brick and mortar business where you're trying to bring people to your door? Are you trying to do some online lead gen, like a B2B business? And that will differ because like your cost per acquisition will of course be different. And again, we will compare that and we'll say, hey, your cost per acquisition doesn't make sense or it makes sense. We can do that. We can give you a 2x ROI at least. Like,
Yeah.
I know right off the bat, this is going to work in a month or two, like you're going to get your money back, if not more. Depends on how much more you want to invest. So I don't know if that answers your question. I'm sorry, I kind of like
No,
diverted.
no, no, that's fine. No, it is answering my question. And I love that you have that set up because there's a lot of small businesses, as I talked about, that get lured into it's not necessarily like bad marketing, but it's some other agency would have agreed to take them on and taken their money and do the
Absolutely.
spend and have no ROI, and then
Yeah.
you end up hearing from potential clients that you're going to sign up that marketing sucks, it doesn't work, I spent X amount, and so on and so forth. And it's
Yeah.
not that marketing sucks, it's just whoever you were working with didn't do you justice, and
Yes. So there's a lot of other things. Like the other consideration would be, for example, let's say their numbers work, but then we do a deeper audit and we take a look at their social media accounts. We take a look at their online presence, sort of like their GBP, their website, how is their conversion rate optimization, basically like what's their path from lead to conversion when somebody lands on the page, how fast a person can convert, how easy it is. And we just then give them an assessment and we give them a plan. We say, before we start running ads, like you basically need to clean up X, Y, and Z. You need to get your content online up and running, and it has to be more frequent. You just have to be like, there's this thing called social proof, right? Like there's the consideration phase of the marketing funnel that we have to take into account. And before we can work on the conversion piece, we have to prepare all the other pieces and align them so that when we do launch ads campaign, for example, it's going to be effective. So yeah, we basically create a plan, and it's usually a custom plan for each business, because even if it's like a regular typical like brick and mortar business, their brand is unique, and the
yeah,
brand is how people will know them and whether it's resonating. And we can even recommend a branding sort of partner, because we don't do branding work,
yeah,
to
amazing.
help them with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So taking this just a step further, and obviously it's different for everyone, but how can business owners on a limited budget, and it's different based on what their goals are, but and this is a question that, how can they prioritize where to spend first? Maybe don't tell me where what channel they should be spending, because doing back of the
Yeah.
napkin kind of strategies and understanding what their goals are, what industry, and so on and so forth, telling them that they should be doing organic SEO regardless. But you know what what is the process of that? And is the only thing that you guys focus on digital, or do you have other online platforms that you push as well, to be able to understand where they need to be rolling
Mhm.
into market?
Yeah, so we also offer digital and radio, but it's kind of part of digital because it can be bought using online platforms that we can manage. So I would say this: typically, what I've noticed in the large case scenarios is that first, social media has to be really good. We are in the age of social media. It is super important for businesses to have strong social media and having a good branding where it does sort of resonate and it does have a strong top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel approach, even within social media content. Like each content piece, right, has to have specific goal, as well as the overall social media strategy. So social media, website, just look at your digital assets and see if they are like, try to put on a hat of your client or your customer and just be like, would I want to buy from this brand because
Yeah.
their website is all broken and their social media has only one post? Does that look good? Once you have fixed that and you have a pretty strong sort of digital presence, now you can start working on the SEO, the ads. I would say bottom of funnel always, like Google ads, of course, depending on your audience, whether it's like Gen Z, millennials, or older, Facebook or Meta or TikTok, that will depend
Mm-hmm.
on interest. TV is more top of the funnel, of course. It's just to generate broad awareness, although our TV ads are run using AI algorithm, and we do see like 600% ROI on some remarketing TV ads, which is
That's
like
great. Like
amazing.
on CCTV, that's becoming um a little
Yeah.
more accommodating to small business owners.
It is, and the budgets are low. Like our
Yeah.
budgets can start at like $1,500 a month, which is
Yeah.
not even a lot for TV ad. So yeah, that can be quite effective, and we can select like zip codes, and we can, the hyper targeting is very, very amazing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I love that. So 100 million in revenue for clients. What has been the through line in terms of success that you've seen in terms of commonality?
The success, the commonality in that is that basically we're driving ROI, we're aligning to client goals. And whenever people say like, hey, this is, 2x guaranteed,
Run?
whatever. Yeah, I always like raise my eyebrows and roll my eyes, and I'm just like, okay, you can go ahead and try them. You'll be bad.
Yeah.
Like, I just know it. I'm like, it's just gonna be a waste of time and money. That's the only pain point. But
Yep.
um I think like the through line has been just data driven analytics, learning what works for their unique situation, and making sure that, it fits their goals, their budget, and their industry, or what, like, the external, the internal,
Yep.
and like our partnership, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. So, the age old question about AI and how it's changing every day, how it's basically changing everything. And, I personally, push my clients to jump on the bandwagon, get automated. Where could we support from that standpoint? But how do you see AI impacting small businesses in the marketing landscape in the next 5 years?
I am very excited about AI because I think AI is just one of those big waves that nobody's going to escape. But I also think that it's not going to remove the human sort of strategic part, because AI, the way that we look at it, is kind of like a junior team member
Mm-hmm.
that still needs to be monitored and needs to be like, hey, not that way, this way. um, so I'm really excited because it's going to make a lot of things more affordable for businesses. And if small businesses can learn AI today, I think they're going to set themselves up for success. We use AI a lot, but we don't use it AI just let it and set and forget and run on its own. So, for example, we have like an AI tool to do Google Business Profile Optimization, which is part of our local SEO strategy, that does a lot of like post creation and writing essentially content and kind of spitting it out there, optimizing the Google Business Profile and writing Q&As and everything like that. Replying to reviews automatically, for example, requesting reviews automatically, um, and on our ad side, it's still pretty manual because I have been testing a lot of AI tools because, of course, if I can make services cheaper for my clients, why not, right? And in fact, we are exploring of building our own AI tool because the ones that I found on the market, I was not quite satisfied with because they lack the strategic part. They're very good at, like, it's no brainer to just go ahead and implement something, but the why is really important. The why behind everything and how you structure it. And I think that's the missing piece with AI right now. So that's what we would be working towards, kind of solving with our own AI tool. But yeah, like, I think AI is amazing, but also don't exclusively rely on it because it's still learning. It's kind of like a baby. It's still a baby, so we have to treat it like that. We have to be grateful that it exists, but it can make things more efficient, but it's not there to replace humans just yet.
I completely agree, and I love your thought. I'm so sorry. I
Okay.
love stop it. I love your thought process in term. Let me just make sure I know where to cut this out. I have a new puppy, so so
Oh,
what I wanted to get into is I just love your thought process in terms of how you set up, clients and how you bring them in through the funnel, and really the authenticity of knowing when it's right for them and when it's wrong for them, even down to how you're integrating AI. I mean, amazing in terms of what you're doing in regards to the support, because there is a lack of how small businesses are really walking through this landscape of marketing and getting confused about it and wasting a lot of money because there is a lot of snake oil out there as it relates to a lot of the agencies. So I just want to say, thank you for the work that you're doing because it's important. Why shouldn't small businesses and startups survive and thrive and become a Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 company eventually one day? But without the knowledge and the know-how and the understanding, it's difficult. And one mistake can really plummet a company and put them out of business. So,
absolutely. I do 100% agree. I'm a big advocate for small businesses. The easiest path for me to starting Leap Engine would be to turn it into a big, regular agency, because I already had clients that spend millions of dollars. I could just be like, hey, I can manage your ad spend just like I did before. Just come with me. But I didn't want to do that because I think that there is nobody helping, or there's a lot of people helping small businesses, but not in a quality way. And I think for me, quality and affordability are two aspects that are, I thought, like, were really, really hard to blend, but I am working and I'm blending them right now. So that's my mission, is to help small businesses. And the impact is unbelievable. I mean, helping like small business owners, it's, you know them by first name, you know they're real people, and they can now buy a house, and they can now, like, go home early, and now they can hire
oh
people,
yeah, yeah.
they can open a second location, and the impact is real. This is like human impact, rather than being like, oh, we made it to our next quarterly earnings report and now we can report good numbers.
And we're in the 1 billion phase.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
completely agree. I mean, I think that these Fortune 5,000, 1,000 companies are doing some amazing things, but it's 95% of our GDP globally is small businesses. And obviously small businesses are categorized from your corner store, your mom and pop's corner store, all the way, I think it caps at like 10 million a year or something like
Mhm.
that. So it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I think it's important that we make sure to support them. So
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
small businesses. They're amazing. Yeah, my
Yeah.
grandma owned a deli, so I'm there with you.
You know what it's like.
I've been there. I sold those things. I was like, hey, here you go.
Yeah. So you're also a yoga instructor and a salsa dancer. I love that. I love to see business owners having side passions as well. How did those passions influence you to lead your business? Because I think that, you know, the audience being small business owners, there's only so much that you can be doing, spending time on your business, and you need to have an outlet. However, that outlet is to let off steam. So I'd imagine that, that salsa dancing and yoga does that for you. Talk to us a little bit
Oh,
about that.
oh my gosh, I love both of them. They're very distinct and special. Yoga for me is kind of like my prayer, my body sort of rejuvenation, and slowing down moment. And it's very important for me to kind of have that time for myself, even to uh, not just the let steam, but to come from like the high energy to low energy, and to process the day. And for salsa, I mean, that's energizing. I mean, that's so fun. I recommend everyone to try salsa because it's a lot of fun and it's a
It
different
is.
chemical reaction. Yeah, you've tried that, I'm sure.
I've definitely tried it in a friend of a friend's. We actually were in Cali, Colombia, which is the capital of salsa,
Hmm.
and it was very interesting to be there and to go to some of the salsa clubs. And the music starts, everybody rushes
Yeah.
to the dance floor. The music, the song ends, everybody gets off the dance floor, finds another partner, and it's so amazing, and it's the passion and the energy that they have, and dancing with a stranger is just so beautiful to see.
And I love that it's not like, hey, I want to hit on you, take you home for the night. It's very
Yes,
respectful. It's just
very.
for dance.
I
And
love that.
I love, yeah, I love that culture. The aspect that, you feel safe as
Yep,
a woman, right?
yep,
That you're not going to be hit on, that
yep.
this is going to be for the dance and you're going to have a great dance and
Yeah, yeah.
enjoy it.
No, I completely agree. That's an amazing point, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that. And also it's freestyle. I used to do ballroom dancing for like as a kid, because in Kazakhstan that's like a typical thing, in Russia too. All the girls do the ballroom dancing and the boys do karate or something,
yeah.
or boxing. And so I did ballroom dancing for a while, and I actually competed and won like second place in the whole country. Um, it was really intense, and I did not like the intensity.
Yeah.
And with salsa dancing, you don't have to follow the rules. You can just have
I see your perfectionism coming from the ballroom dancing, winning awards, and so
it's too
amazing.
much, just
Yeah.
too much pressure. And as a woman, we have a lot um, that falls down on our shoulders. So just
Yes, yes.
having a little steam off is good.
Mm. Speaking of that, what advice do you have for other women entrepreneurs balancing parenting and running a business?
Um, I think like you're doing great. Whatever you're doing, I know women are like amazing. Women can do incredible things. I am very proud to be a woman, and I just think you're doing great. And give yourself some slack and enjoy life. And work will always be there, but these moments that we have with our children, with our families, with our loved ones are kind of passing. So make sure to prioritize them.
I like that. Aya, thank you. It's
Thank
been
you.
amazing having you and learning about your journey and your story, and love hearing how welcoming it was for you to come to the States, in your first host family. So I know my dad came to a host family when he came to college. So I think it's a beautiful thing when that happens, and the exchange of countries before the world of WWW.
Yes.
But before we let you go, we like to do a fire round of one word, one habit, and one myth. So whatever comes to your mind, just fire away. So, one word, if you had to pick one word that defines your journey so far, what would that be?
Resilience.
I like it. Oh, I've heard a lot of those this year. One habit. What's one habit or daily practice that keeps you grounded and effective?
Meditation.
Mm. And a side of salsa dancing.
Yeah, yeah.
One myth. What's one myth about marketing or entrepreneurship that you want to bust once and for all?
Guaranteed. Ain't no
Yeah, nothing is. It's all about testing and learning.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Aya, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. I mean, truly, from Fortune 500 boardrooms and the amazing things that you've been doing and the awards that have just landed on your lap, and how clients have sort of, in essence, also been landing on your lap, into this, thriving agency of supporting small businesses. I think your story is one that is, truly powerful and a reminder of resilience and strategy and action. So, for everyone listening, we'll link Leap Engine below, and also the little quiz that Aya was talking about earlier. And please be sure to get in touch and learn more about how you can really take that jumping board and leap your business off the ground.
Thanks you so much, Sasha. That was fun.